In 2026, there will only be two types of people: those who are replaced by AI and the AI power users who replace them. And guess what? Today, I'm going to show you how to be one of them. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build a fully automated AI employee, one that qualifies leads, calls them on the phone, and closes deals. And no, this is not a dream. This is a reality you can create in minutes. Welcome to the Ultimate AI Automation Guide, Step-by-Step Tutorial 2026. I'm Clay Fletcher, and today we're diving deep into the future of automation. By the end of this video, you'll have built systems that save you hours and generate income, just like the pros do. In 2026, the most valuable skill won't be coding. It will be orchestrating tools. Think of orchestration like a digital symphony, where data flows seamlessly between apps and systems. The first skill you need to master is orchestration. This is the ability to connect tools like Slack, Gmail, and Airtable into one cohesive workflow. And that's exactly what we'll do today. This is how we move from using tools to building systems. You're no longer just interacting with apps. You're creating a system where everything works together automatically. Now, let's take a closer look at orchestration. It's all about connecting different tools and making them work together as a seamless system. For example, imagine using Slack for team communication, Gmail for email automation, and Airtable for managing your database, all working together without you lifting a finger. This is the meta skill of the future. You won't need to be a coder to use these tools. You just need to be able to connect them into powerful workflows. That's orchestration. The second skill is vibe coding, building software by just telling AI what you want. No more complicated code, just plain English. Today, we'll use vibe coding to make things simpler and faster. For example, we don't need to write complex scripts for every automation. Instead, we'll just describe what we need in plain language, and the AI will write the code for us. And the third skill is LLM Council. By using multiple AI models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, we can ensure accuracy and avoid AI hallucinations. These tools won't just perform tasks, they will check each other's work, making sure the result is trustworthy and reliable. All right, now that we have already talked about the skills that are going to matter in 2026, it's time to zoom in on one of the most important skills of all, and that is automation. So, before you roll your eyes and think, I've already heard this before, stay with me for a moment. Because what we're talking about today is very different from the automation most people are used to. Just let me explain this in very simple terms. Traditional automation works on fixed rules. It's nothing more than logic that says one thing triggers another thing. If this happens, then do that. That is it. There is no intelligence involved. There is no understanding of meaning. There is no flexibility. For example, if someone fills out a form, you send them a generic email. If someone clicks a button, you move their data into a spreadsheet. If someone signs up for a service, you add them to a subscription list. Traditional automation does exactly what you tell it to do, and nothing more. There is no thinking involved at all. It is like programming a robot and telling it very clearly, do not think, just follow instructions exactly as written. Now, this is where AI automation completely changes the game. AI automation does not just follow rules. It analyzes information. It understands context, and it adapts its response based on the information it receives. This is possible because AI is trained on massive amounts of data and language patterns. It learns how humans communicate, how questions are asked, how problems are described, and how responses should change depending on the situation. So instead of sending the same boring template email to everyone, the system actually reads what the user wrote and responds intelligently. Think of it like this. Traditional automation sends an auto reply that says something like, "Thank you for your message. We will get back to you shortly." You've seen this message many times. It feels robotic and it feels impersonal. AI automation works like a smart autoresponder. It reacts to what the person actually said, which is mostly based on the given query, and here is how that works in practice. If someone sounds frustrated, the tone of the reply adjusts to be calmer and more empathetic. If someone asks a very simple question, the reply stays short and clear. If someone gives a detailed explanation of their problem, the response becomes more detailed and thoughtful. That is the real difference between traditional automation and AI automation. In conclusion, traditional automation is a machine following rules. AI automation is a machine making decisions on its own. Once you truly understand this shift, everything else we build after this will start to make sense. Now that you have a clear idea of what AI automation actually is, let's start building something real and meaningful using it. Every automation system starts with one essential component, a trigger. A trigger is simply the event that tells the system something has happened and it is time to start working. Without a trigger, nothing happens. No data moves, no automation runs. In our case, the trigger will be Google Forms. Whenever someone fills out a Google form, that submission becomes the signal that starts the entire automation. This is powerful because Google Forms is free, simple to use, and flexible enough for almost any situation. You can use it for contact forms on a website. You can use it for customer support requests. You can use it for lead capture. You can also use it for feedback collection. The same setup works across all of these use cases. Now, to connect everything together, we are going to use make.com. Think of make.com as digital glue. It does not replace your tools, it connects them. Google Forms collects the data, make.com receives it, OpenAI processes it, Gmail sends the response. Make.com sits in the middle and makes all of these tools communicate with each other without any human intervention. Here's how you actually set it up. Inside make.com, click Create a new scenario option. This scenario is your automation blueprint. It defines the full workflow from start to finish. Next, choose Google Forms as the first module. Then select Watch for new responses. What this means is very simple. Every time someone submits a new form response, make.com instantly detects it and pulls the data into your scenario. That is your trigger. All right, now that you have an idea about the trigger, it's time to look at the Google form itself. We are keeping it intentionally clean and simple. The form includes 3 fields: name, email, message. That is all we need for now. You do not need anything fancy here. The goal is to capture just enough information for the AI to understand the situation and respond properly. Once the form is submitted, make.com extracts the data and passes it to the next step. And this is where things start getting interesting. This next moment is where we give our automation a brain. Up until now, everything we have built is still traditional automation. It works, but it is not intelligent. Now we add OpenAI. Instead of sending a generic reply, we let the AI read the message, understand what the person is asking, and generate a personalized response. This shift is exactly why AI skills are exploding in demand right now. Companies want systems that can think, adapt, and communicate like humans without needing human involvement every single time. Next, look inside make.com and add the OpenAI GPT module. This is where the magic happens. You give the AI a clear instruction in plain language. For example, read the message submitted through the form and write a helpful, professional reply that matches the tone of the message. That is it. No hard-coded templates, no if-else logic. Just instructions, the same way you would explain a task to a human assistant. For example, if someone writes, "I need help with my order," the AI does not send a generic reply. Instead, it generates something like, "Hi John, thanks for reaching out. I would be happy to help you with your order. Could you please share your order number?" That response is contextual. It is human. And most importantly, it gives a personalized touch to the user's message. Notice what is happening behind the scenes. The AI reads the message. The AI understands intent. The AI writes a response that actually makes sense. That is why AI automation feels completely different from anything we've had before. Now, just one step is left. We need one final piece to complete the workflow. We have captured the data. We have processed it with AI. Now we need to send the response. For that, we use Gmail. Inside make.com, add the Gmail module. And choose Send an Email. Here is the most important part. We are not writing the email manually. We map the AI-generated response directly into the email body. Whatever OpenAI writes becomes the email content that gets sent. We also map the recipient's email address from the form, and we map the name field so the greeting feels personal. Once this is done, everything connects automatically. So, the main thing is testing. Let's test the full workflow. I will fill out the form like a real user. All right, the form is submitted. Now, let us check the Gmail inbox. And there it is. A personalized AI-generated reply is sent automatically within seconds. No templates, no manual work, no copy-pasting. This is what AI automation looks like in the real world. You are not just saving time. You are delivering better responses, faster, and at scale. And once you understand this workflow, you can apply it to almost anything. For now, the question is, what is the real problem businesses face when it comes to lead qualification? Among these problems, the biggest one is bad leads. Bad leads are actually people who are not ready to buy, do not understand the service, or simply do not meet the budget requirements. And even though they may not be a good fit, they still take up your time. They fill out forms. They request calls. They ask for proposals. And before you realize it, you have already spent time responding, scheduling, and explaining, only to discover that this person was never going to move forward. That time adds up in lead qualification. To solve this problem, we are going to build an AI lead qualification system. The goal here is simple. No more wasting time on the wrong leads. We want the system to automatically decide which leads are worth pursuing and which ones should be filtered out before a human ever gets involved. Everything will be automated. We need a place to store and manage our leads. For that, we are going to use a tool named Airtable. Airtable is much more powerful than a simple spreadsheet. It allows us to structure data properly, track lead status, and easily connect it to a range of automation tools. This makes it perfect for managing leads in a clean and organized way. The next step is the setup of this tool. Here is a quick overview of how to set it up. Inside Airtable, create a new base dedicated to leads. Now we add the fields we actually need. Name them one by one so we know who the lead is, company so we understand the business context of the lead. Then comes the budget, which will act as our first qualification filter. Lastly, qualification status, which will store whether the lead is qualified or unqualified. You can also add extra fields later, like notes or follow-up status. But for now, we keep it focused and short. Airtable makes it very easy to track the status of each lead and see at a glance which ones are worth attention and which ones are not. Later, this database becomes the foundation of our entire system. Now that we have a database in place and all leads are being stored in one location, we need to pause and ask an important question. What should happen to each lead next? Up to this point, our system has only been collecting information. It is saving names, companies, and budgets, but it is not making any decisions. Every lead is being treated the same way. That is exactly how problems begin. In real life, a human would never treat every lead equally. A human would look at the details, think for a moment, and then decide whether the lead is worth pursuing or not. That thinking process is what we are missing right now. This is where logic comes in. Logic is the set of rules that decides what happens next. It is the thinking part of a system. Logic allows the system to look at information and make a decision instead of blindly moving data forward. Without logic, automation only moves data from one place to another. With logic, automation starts making choices. So before we talk about any tools, we need to define the decision we want the system to make. The decision is simple. Is this lead worth pursuing or not? To answer that question, we need a rule, and the first rule we will use is the budget. Budget is often the fastest and clearest signal of whether a lead is a good fit. So we are going to teach the system how to separate leads based on budget. To do that, we need the system to split leads into two outcomes. One outcome for leads that meet our requirements. Another outcome for leads that do not. This is the moment where a single flow is no longer enough. We now need the automation to branch. For branching decisions, we can introduce the tool that makes this possible. Inside Make.com, this type of decision-making is handled using a feature called a router. The router exists for one reason. It allows a single workflow to split into multiple paths based on conditions. Inside Make.com, we add the router module to our scenario. Once the router is added, we can define rules that control where each lead goes next. Here is the rule we're going to use. If the lead's budget is greater than $5,000, the lead should move forward as a qualified lead. If the budget is less than $5,000, the lead should not move forward as a priority lead. These rules are added directly inside the router. The router evaluates the budget value and sends the lead down the correct path automatically. This single decision removes a huge amount of wasted effort. Leads that clearly do not meet the budget requirement are filtered out instantly. No manual review is needed. No human judgment is required at this stage. The system handles the decision for us. This is how the logic looks visually inside Make.com. You can see that the workflow splits into two clear paths. One path is for qualified leads. The other path is for unqualified leads. Each lead follows only one path based on its budget value. It also makes it easy to change the rules later if your requirements change. You could raise the budget threshold, add more conditions, or introduce additional paths. But there is one important thing to understand. Budget alone cannot fully qualify a lead. Someone may have the budget, but still not be a good fit. That is why the next step is to bring in AI to make a deeper and smarter decision. Now, we do not want to rely only on budget. Having the budget does not automatically mean the lead is a good match. someone else might have a smaller budget, but be a strong long-term opportunity. This is where AI becomes extremely powerful. We use OpenAI to analyze the lead's description and context, and decide whether the lead is actually worth following up with. It can read a lead's information, understand what they are asking for, and make a judgment based on their specific needs. Inside Make.com, we add the OpenAI GPT module. We send the lead's information to the AI, including the company, budget, and description. Then we ask OpenAI a clear question. Is this company a good fit based on their industry, budget, and description? The AI analyzes the input and returns a decision, qualified or unqualified, along with a short explanation. This decision is then saved back into Airtable. so we have a record of why the lead was accepted or rejected. Once OpenAI finishes analyzing the lead, the system knows exactly what to do next. If the lead is qualified, Make.com sends a message to Slack. This happens instantly. The sales team is notified the moment a high-quality lead enters the system. We set up the Slack integration so the message includes important details like the lead's name, company, budget, and AI evaluation. This allows the sales team to follow up immediately with full context. Host testing the full system by entering a lead into Airtable. Now, let us test everything we have built. I am going to add a new lead to Airtable with a budget of over $5,000. Once the lead is added, the automation should run automatically. If everything is working correctly, the lead should be analyzed by AI and then routed to Slack. And there it is! Within seconds, the qualified lead has been sent to Slack. The sales team now knows exactly who to follow up with and why. This is the real power of AI automation. The system works in the background, saving time and removing manual effort every single day. So now, we have built a fully automated lead qualification system. It uses Airtable to store leads, Make.com to control the workflow, OpenAI to analyze and make decisions, Slack to notify the team instantly. Everything is hands-off and automated. In the next section, we are going to take this even further. We will add a voice agent that can actually call your qualified leads and handle the first conversation. Up to this point in the video, we've built systems that work extremely well at handling tasks. We automated how leads are captured. We automated how leads are qualified. We automated how teams are notified. These systems save time and reduce manual effort. But now, we need to stop and ask an important question. What happens after the system finishes its task? Right now, everything we built still waits for a human to take over. A human reads the Slack message. A human decides when to call. A human asks questions. A human books the meeting. That gap still exists, and that gap is where speed is lost. This is the limitation of traditional automation. Automation reacts, but it does not act on its own. It waits for an event, completes a task, and then stops. So the next problem we need to solve is simple. How do we remove that gap? How do we let the system take the next step without waiting for a human? This is where the idea of agents comes in. Agentic AI is not just automation. It is a system that can operate independently for longer periods of time. An agent does not just complete a task and stop. Agent can communicate, ask questions, listen to answers, and decide what to do next. In other words, an agent behaves more like a worker than a tool. You can think of it as the difference between a calculator and an employee. A calculator waits for input and gives an output. An employee takes initiative. This is the shift we are making now. Now imagine this applied to lead handling. Instead of your system stopping at a notification, it continues. It calls the lead. It starts the conversation. It asks the right questions. It listens for the answers. And it moves the process forward automatically. This is not replacing your sales team, it is preparing the lead before a human ever gets involved. Now that we understand what an agent is and why we need one, let us build it to create a voice-based agent. We need 3 capabilities. The agent needs to speak, the agent needs to listen, the agent needs to make decisions while the conversation is happening. This is where a tool like Vapi becomes useful. Vapi allows us to create a voice agent that can handle real-time phone calls. This is not a recorded message system. This is a live conversational agent. We're going to build a simple version that can call a qualified lead and handle the first interaction. Inside Vapi, we start by creating a new voice agent. I'm going to name this agent Ben. Ben will act as our sales assistant. Before Ben can make calls, we need to define who he is. This is done using something called a system prompt. The system prompt tells the agent how to behave. It defines the role, the tone, and the goal of every conversation. For example, we tell Ben that he is a friendly and professional sales assistant, and his job is to call qualified leads, understand their needs, ask relevant questions, and book an appointment if the lead is a good fit. This prompt acts as Ben's instructions during every call. Next, we choose how Ben sounds. Voice matters. If the voice sounds robotic or unnatural, people will disengage quickly. So we choose a voice that sounds human, calm, and professional. Vapi allows us to customize this and even add subtle background sounds, like an office environment. 8 small details make the conversation feel more natural and less automated. Now, let us test how Ben sounds.
Hello, my name is Ben, and I'm a sales assistant. I'm calling to understand your needs and see how we can assist you further. Could you please tell me more about what you're looking for?
I click the test call button and Ben answers. I ask a few questions and listen to how he responds. Notice that the responses are not rigid. Ben listens, processes what is said, and replies in a way that fits the conversation. This is the difference between a script and an agent. Now that the agent is ready, we need to connect it to the system we already built. Earlier, our system stopped after qualifying a lead. It saved the result and notified the team. Now, we want the system to take action immediately. That action is making the call. So, instead of a human clicking anything, the automation itself triggers the agent. This is how agents fit into workflows. They are not separate tools. They are steps inside the automation. Inside Make.com, we connect Airtable to Vapi. We pass the lead's phone number to the voice agent. We also pass context, such as the lead's name, company, and reason for reaching out. Context is very important. It allows the agent to sound informed instead of generic. Now, whenever a lead is marked as qualified in Airtable, the automation triggers Vapi. The call starts automatically. No manual action is required. Voiceover script. Let us test the full flow. We add a qualified lead to Airtable. The automation runs. Vapi initiates the call. Ben introduces himself, explains why he is calling, and starts asking questions. He listens to the responses and gathers useful information. From conversation to proposal, After the call ends, we are not done yet. A human sales rep would normally review notes and write a proposal. We want the system to handle that too. So we bring OpenAI back into the workflow. OpenAI analyzes the call transcript. It extracts key details such as needs, budget, timeline, and expectations. Once that information is structured, we move to the final step, generating the proposal. We use PandaDoc for this. PandaDoc allows us to create professional proposals using templates. The information extracted from the call is mapped directly into the proposal. This happens automatically. No manual writing is needed. Within seconds, the lead receives a customized proposal in their inbox. From form submission to phone call to proposal delivery, the system handled everything. This is what agentic AI makes possible. Not just automation of tasks, automation of entire processes. Give it a try and see what you can build. The tools are already here. The systems are ready to be connected. What matters now is how you use them. Up to this point, we have built one complete system. Not a demo, not a concept, a real scenario that ran end to end. Now, instead of going deeper into that same use case, we're going to zoom out. Because when you open make.com, you'll notice something important right away. It's not built around one type of automation, it's built around entire business functions. So in this section, I want to give you a practical overview of what you can actually automate in each area, using real tools and real integrations. When you go to Make's marketing section, what you'll mostly see are workflows that deal with leads, content, and data movement. Here are practical examples that people actually build. A very common one. A new lead comes in from a form, that lead is stored in Airtable. At the same time, a message is sent to Slack, and the contact is added to a CRM like HubSpot. This is the same pattern you already used earlier, just applied to marketing ops. Another example you'll see often is a new blog post is published. Make.com picks it up automatically. It creates social posts and schedules them through tools like Buffer. No copying links, no manual posting. You'll also find workflows for syncing campaign data into Google Sheets, enriching leads before sales ever see them, sending internal alerts when campaigns cross certain thresholds. These are not custom builds, they're standard templates. In sales, the most common trigger is a deal or contact change. A very typical workflow you'll see in Make.com is this. A deal stage changes in Pipedrive. Make.com automatically updates the lead record in Airtable, sends a message to the correct Slack. Channel creates follow-up tasks or internal notes. You'll also find templates where proposals are generated, contracts are created, follow-ups are scheduled. Sales and ops teams are notified at the same time. In Make.com, sales automation usually means keeping multiple systems in sync, so reps do not have to update 5 tools manually. You do not need to memorize these workflows. Here's what actually works. Go to Make.com, open integrations or templates. Search for the tools you already use. If you use Slack, search Slack. If you use Airtable, search Airtable. If you use Stripe, search Stripe. You'll find real importable scenarios that match the examples you just saw, and you can adapt them to your business. What we built earlier was one scenario. What you've seen here is how that same structure can scale across an entire business. This is really the story of how AI has evolved. We started with tools that only followed rules. Now, we have systems that can understand context, make decisions, and move work forward for us. Platforms like Make.com are a big part of that shift, not because they replace people, but because they remove the repetitive work that slows people down. The tools are already here. The templates are already built. What matters now is how you choose to use them. If you have questions or you're wondering how to apply this to your own setup, comment below. I read them all. And if this helps you see what's possible, like the video and subscribe for more practical systems that actually do the work. And do not forget to join the newsletter for daily updates on AI, automation, and real workflows. The link is in the description.